Hello, and welcome to my guide to the Barracks featuring my Melee Cleric. My name is Alicor, and I will be showing you footage from some of my earliest clears of the Barracks today while going over pulls, mechanics, and things of that nature. This guide will talk about general mechanics and may reference cleric-specific tactics occasionally, but the information will typically be class-agnostic. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll know everything you need to start farming this place without fear of losing your precious dungeon keys. Now, let's begin. The Barracks is the entry-level solo dungeon that players can tackle as soon as they hit level 25 or even earlier depending on your class. I did it for the first time when I first hit level 25 with about 4300 combat rating, but you can definitely do it much earlier on a cleric. It's a fairly simple dungeon without any complex mechanics. It's located northwest of the waypoint near Morgul's camp. In order to enter, you will need a key to the barracks. If you've been leveling up on Minotaurs around the Candoris areas, you're likely to already have some stockpiled. If not, you can farm the keys from the Minotaurs and the lesser worms found in this area. Currently, the drop rate of the keys is 5%, but this has been changed several times and may change again. Once you have your keys, you can enter the barracks. The keys are consumed on use, and if you die inside the dungeon, you will lose your opportunity to clear that instance and will need to use another key to enter a new one. Inside the barracks, you will find yourself faced with two mobs, a skeletal warrior and a skeletal mage. These are the only two non-boss mob types you will find in the dungeon. Skeletal warriors will use basic attacks, a self buff, and a few debuffs. None of this really matters when fighting them one-on-one, but it's nice to know in case you end up in a sticky situation from chain pulling mobs. Their self buff is called Determination, which buffs their damage and reduces their damage taken. They will debuff you with Hamstring, Demoralizing Shout, and Mortal Wound. Hamstring reduces your movement speed. Demoralizing Shout reduces your damage taken by 25%, and finally, Mortal Wound will reduce your healing received by half. Skeletal mages will cast Frostbolt and Shadowbolt. Frostbolt can be ignored as it just debuffs your movement speed. Shadowbolt, on the other hand, will give you a stacking magical debuff that increases your magic damage taken. The damage stacks up quite a lot with each stack, so be careful here. As a cleric, you can dispel magic yourself if needed to cleanse it, but it's easier to just interrupt Shadowbolt altogether. Generally, you will only be fighting mobs one at a time, but it is possible to occasionally chain pull extra mobs. Usually one extra, but I have chain pulled up to 4 extra mobs before in the westernmost room. Even at lower gear levels, one extra isn't likely to be a big deal, but more can be deadly. Just focus skeletal mages down first and be sure to interrupt and rotate defensive cooldowns as needed. The final boss of the barracks is Sarlacc the Betrayer. Compared to the rest of the mobs here, he has quite a bit more health, as to be expected of a boss. Sarlacc only does 2 things and generally will always do them in a sequence. He will cast Lesser Heal, healing himself for a small amount, then follow it up with Greater Flame a few moments later. This ability has a long enough cast time to allow clerics to react with Holy Bolt as an interrupt, but Smite and Fear work as well. You will always want to interrupt this, because if you let it hit you, it will do a massive amount of damage, so make sure you interrupt it. I would ignore Lesser Heal entirely and just focus on Greater Flame. Once you've managed to defeat Sarlacc, be sure to loot him and get the depleted key, which will be used to access the next solo dungeon, the Undercourse. That's about it for the barracks. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe and like the video, if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Lates!